At what point will NASCAR learn that their PJ1 traction compound does not work and instead hurts the racing product? I seriously don't understand. We saw how it ruined Texas, although to be fair, the reconfiguration didn't help matters either. But my point still stands. If you have to artificially treat a racetrack just to improve the racing product, chances are the track is not the problem, especially because Bristol has been a fan favorite and the epitome of short track racing. Putting PJ1 on the track turns this race into a single file affair where you have only 5 laps under green to make up as many positions as you can outside of the PJ1 groove before the traction compound kicks in, and if you're not on the bottom lane, you're toast. It also didn't help matters that it rained earlier in the day and practice and qualifying were cancelled. Although, to be fair, that's to be expected when it comes to spring Bristol. It always rains around this time of the year. Now, there was some hope that maybe the tire wear would play a factor. After all, the tire compound and track conditions were all too similar to that insane spring Bristol Cup race from last year. And we did see some glimpses of that towards the end of Stage 2 when Lane Riggs' 34 truck just fell apart and lost the lap to the leaders at the tail end of that long green flag run. But then once Stage 3 rolled around and we saw Raja Karuth stay out for that 60-lap green flag run. And for Raja, the last time he got pitted was on lap 80 when he got spun by Honeycutt. So watching him stay out and hold the lead up until just a few laps before the next yellow came out, it was disheartening. That being said, I was also not expecting this race to be a repeat of Spring Bristol last year because, while I did say the tire compound and track conditions were similar, they're not the exact same, and NASCAR also made it extremely clear that they would work with Goodyear to make sure something like that didn't happen again. But yeah, this race was all over the place. It got a bit messy towards the end, not in the sense that it became a wreck fest, but with race control just being trigger happy with their caution button. The first time was already questionable enough, although to be fair, I did see some raindrops at the time of caution, and considering NASCAR's past with letting them race on a wet track, yeah, I wasn't really upset over that particular yellow. The caution that came immediately after was really stupid though, because no one wrecked. Yeah, Bailey Curry was limping around the track with a broken transmission and the 77 truck came out with a massive tire rub, but 9.5 times out of 10, NASCAR would let them race. I assure you, if this exact incident happened 15 laps into the race instead of with 15 laps to go, I don't think NASCAR calls a yellow. There's always something about NASCAR trying to force some late race drama, but thankfully we didn't get overtime. That's now 20 races in a row the Truck Series have gone with no overtime, which ties the all-time record, so you'll love to see it. And also, the best truck all night won the race, so congrats to Chandler Smith, first truck win of the year. He also won Stage 1 and could have won Stage 2 if not for lap traffic, which allowed Bailey Curry to nab an unlikely stage win. Again, really heartbreaking that he came down with that transmission issue on that second last restart because he arguably had a top 5 truck. Chandler also outdueled Corey Heim and also Kyle Larson, but honestly, Larson was never up front at any point in time during the race, up until that final restart where he got up to second and tried to make something happen in the top lane, but he just could not get close to the 38. He was a 5th place truck at best, which was a bit disappointing because this is one of his best tracks and this was also his second attempt at a triple header, and he won't complete the sweep now. It doesn't really matter that much to me though, because I figure Homestead was his best chance, and again, considering everything that needs to go well for a driver to even have a chance at a triple sweep, because there's a reason why it has only been done twice in NASCAR history. I didn't think Larson would come close to even having the same chances he did 3 weeks ago, especially considering that the Racing Gods kinda gave him a hand with Corey Heim's truck shutting off on that Homestead race. So he got a big break on that particular instance, and while those late cautions gave him a chance, again, the 38 was just too good. And like Chandler said, this 38 team was put together with just 3 weeks before Daytona, because if you remember, he didn't have a ride for 2025 after being released by Joe Gibbs, despite the solid season he had in Xfinity. I didn't expect him to remain full-time in any capacity, so I was surprised and also delighted to hear about Front Row adding him as their second truck driver. Now, usually teams that are put together in such short notice, they don't work out for the year, but credit to Chandler for being the glue that holds the team together. I really hope they keep this up and they don't fall off a cliff like Johnny Sauter in 2019, because they're looking like a serious title contender. Especially with that nice little cash prize, because something I forgot to mention during the Martinsville race was that this was a triple truck challenge event as well. Daniel Hemrick won Martinsville and got 50K last time, and now Chandler gets the second 50K prize. Again, blame Fox for their abysmal job at covering the race and not mentioning this as a storyline to follow. Even a savvy fan such as myself forgot that the triple truck challenge started at Martinsville, but I sure as hell won't forget about it when NASCAR returns to the Rock next week.